Hello, and welcome to Namio's Corner, where we explore the best, the worst, and the incredibly mediocre in religious art and culture. When we last left Veggie Tales, the series was off to a rough but somewhat encouraging start. For those just joining us, Veggie Tales is a series of direct-to-video Christian films for children starring a colorful cast of anthropomorphic vegetables who act out skits to teach kids lessons about spirituality and good behavior. The production company, Big Idea, has steadily been pushing out 1 to 2 half-hour episodes per year since 1993, and the series is hugely popular among adults and children alike. The first episode, while showing clear signs of potential, had unfinished animation, a poorly thought-out scenario involving 2 grown men breaking into a 5-year-old's bedroom, and a clearly unfinished song. But it also had one very catchy song called God is Bigger Than the Boogeyman, as well as a fairly good idea of what it wanted to be and where it wanted to go. The second episode is entitled, God Wants Me to Forgive Them? Again with the overly excited title? Well, let's see how this one measures up to the last one. Like last time, we open with a question from a viewer.
The other day, I was walking home from my bowling league when I bumped into Marco, one of our TV friends.
Whoa.
Was that supposed to be a joke? Because mostly I'm just confused as to why that detail is necessary to the story, and how a creature with no arms can bowl.
Marco had a question for us. He said that when his baby sister does something that makes him mad, and then she says she's sorry, well, Marco's mom says he needs to forgive her. Why does he have to forgive?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I know. I'll tell Marco the story of the Grapes of Wrath.
Here we have a small milestone in the series, as the sly referencing of classic literature would become a common trope in future episodes, and be something that literature nerds like me would find deeply endearing. There's just one problem with this particular reference.
We are the grapes of wrath. We'll never take a bath. It is our style to seldom smile and never laugh.
Yeah, this reference and the skit that follows it kinda suck. Once again, we see a sharp contrast between the quality of the animation in the countertop scenes versus the animation in the skits. While the countertop scenes are fluid and well rendered, this skit is bland, with flat, boring textures, jerky movements, and ugly environments. The skit centers around a family of grapes who talk about themselves like this.
I'm Bob.
I'm Paul.
This is our brood.
We're grumpy and we know it.
That's Tom and Rosie.
They're both rude
And not afraid to show it.
And talk to each other like this.
You taco salad rabbit nose.
Two casserole head pimento loaf iguana boy.
Okay, it's cute that they want to reference John Steinbeck's most famous novel, but it's not cute to completely misrepresent what the word wrath means. Wrath is vicious anger or vengeance motivated by vicious anger. It doesn't mean rude for no reason other than plot convenience. I have a feeling that if this family's trait actually was wrath, it would be a much more interesting story. The grapes happen upon Junior Asparagus, who is minding his own business, and start making fun of him in really weird ways.
Well, what's that thing he's got on his head?
Well, it's yellow. Cheese is yellow.
So that would make him a cheese-headed bean boy.
Ooh.
Hey, Bean Boys, you been gluing peas to your noggin?
No.
Are we sure this was written by humans and not aliens?
Why is his head so big? Why is his head so big?
Don't those grapes know it's not nice to make fun of people?
Well, that's just it, Bob. They didn't know how bad it made Junior feel.
Okay, now I know that while this may or may not have been written by aliens, it definitely was not written by a person who remembers being a child. Because if there's one thing that any child who has either been bullied or been a bully knows, it's that children know exactly how awful they make each other feel, and they don't care. The only people who think that any form of bullying is in any way innocent are people who either don't remember or refuse to remember remember what childhood was actually like. Junior's dad comes out and gives the grapes a short sermon as Larry narrates. This, of course, completely changes the grapes' perspective.
Gee, I guess we never really stopped to think about it. Well, it was making you feel and all.
Yeah, we was just having some fun. Didn't mean nothing by it.
Yeah, sorry.
Here's my issue with this. In my immediate family, we make fun of each other a lot. In fact, I'd say it's one of our primary ways of showing affection. But at no point in our lives, even when my sisters and I were young and stupid, did we take this to mean that making fun of strangers was okay. But Junior's dad isn't quite done with his sermonizing.
Junior's dad explained to him that when someone says they're sorry for hurting you, and they really mean it, we need to forgive them.
Really? That's all you're gonna say? I mean, I get that this is targeted towards young children, but that goes way beyond oversimplification. You're basically saying that we all need to forgive each other, but you're not defining what forgiveness is or explaining how it makes anybody feel better about anything. It is literal seconds before the grapes find something else to start making fun of Junior for, leading to a really unfunny moment of slapstick that makes them laugh even harder. Junior's dad admonishes them, and they once again apologize. In voiceover, Larry narrates that Junior forgives them again, but Junior objects.
What?
I said, once again, Junior forgave them.
Are you serious?
Well, I think so. Bob, am I serious?
I've heard of breaking the fourth wall, but this is a story within a story, so would that be breaking the fifth wall? Since this is the second time that Junior's been asked to forgive the grapes, he asks how many times God expects him to forgive someone. Bob asks QWERTY the computer for a verse and gets this answer.
I tell you, not 7 times, but 70 times 7.
This causes the characters to all start trying to figure out what exactly 70 times 7 comes to, and finally one of the grapes comes up with the answer.
490! So I guess we need to forgive each other, even if we make the same mistakes more than once.
That's right, Junior. Now do you have something to say to the grapes?
Yeah, I forgive you guys again.
Oh, thanks.
Junior.
You know, now that we're gonna be nice and all, well, I don't think we should be called the Grapes of Wrath anymore.
That little girl of yours has quite a head for numbers. Maybe you could be the Grapes of Math.
This whole skit exists because someone wanted to make that pun, doesn't it? Instead of a silly song, we next have a faux infomercial for the Forgive-O-Matic, a product that, when you sin, somehow causes God to forgive you. I'd make fun of that, but it's nowhere near as dumb as most real infomercials. Junior pops up and explains to the announcer that you don't need any kind of fancy product in order to be forgiven by God, you just need to ask. The announcer seems surprised by this.
You mean all you have to do is ask?
Yep.
You don't need a Forgive-O-Matic?
Nope.
Dude, it's your product! Do you not even know what it does? Oh wait, you're in an infomercial. Of course you don't know. We next get a Gilligans Island parody. Larry is driving the tour boat when he starts to daydream, causing him to crash into a desert island. The others are understandably mad at him, but even though Larry apologizes, Bob refuses to forgive him, so Larry wanders off into the woods alone. The next day, Bob is looking for Larry when the professor accidentally hits him on the head with a coconut, causing him to fall and destroy the millionaire's hut. In the end, the professor apologizes for the coconut, and Bob apologizes for destroying the hut, and everyone happily forgives each other. This, of course, makes everyone realize how awful Larry must have felt when they didn't forgive him. So they go find him and tell him that he's forgiven. Then a tree sings a song.
You know that in love we can forgive. It is the only way to live.
This comes out of nowhere and makes no sense even within the context of the skit, But they basically acknowledge that by having the other characters stand around looking as awkward as the audience feels. The skit ends with the millionaire's wife lamenting that while everyone is getting along now and that's great, they're still stuck on the island. But that is Deus Ex Machina'd away instantly by the arrival of the professor who has built a helicopter out of bamboo and coconuts. The episode ends with Bob and Larry summarizing what they learned, and Larry saying the word bamboo a lot. Of all of the Veggie Tales episodes that have been produced, this one is easily the least interesting and the least successful at conveying its basic message. Make no mistake, this thing hammers away at its message constantly, but because it never gets around to explaining what forgiveness is, the admonition that we should all forgive each other never really lands. Add to that the fact that it constantly repeats itself and that the pacing drags to a glacial crawl in several places, and you get an episode that is easily the lowest point of the early series. If you're looking to explore the world of Veggie Tales, I'd say to go ahead and skip this one and move right on to the next episode, because from here on out we get a huge leap in quality. I'm Namio, and I forgive Big Idea Productions for this inferior episode.